All India Bakshod, or AIB, as most of you already know, is India's widely heard comedy podcast, and their story is truly fascinating. A bunch of young comedians decided that they need to scale up from doing a few gigs a month to some serious business. So they decided to turn digital, and there's been no looking back since then. I caught up with all the four folks behind AIB to understand their trip in life and also get a sense of how they managed what they did. Take it away. Well, thank you so much for joining me, AIB. Truly a pleasure to be joined by you at Goa Fest. I mean, very unexpected guest, really.
It's a pleasure to be here on India's #1 economic channel.
Thank you so much for that testimonial.
Yes.
So AIB is truly a fascinating story. So you started off in 2012.
Yeah.
And, you know, your subscriber levels are pretty good for, you know, a new entrant. You know, give me a sense of, you know, how the idea really came about.
See, I think the difference was that all of us were stage comedians. We've been stage comedians for a while now. About 4 or 5 years, we've been doing live stand-up. Right. So in 2012, me and Tanmay started doing the podcast because nobody in the Indian comedy space was doing a podcast that people could listen to for free. And, you know, on a podcast, you can say whatever you want. Right. It's not like radio or TV where there are regulations. So the idea was that we used the internet as a medium to sort of reach out to more people. Sure. So we started as comedians, and then essentially because all of us used to do live stage stuff anyway, right, we decided, okay, this makes perfect sense because now people who watch us live, there's so many people who can't watch us live from across the world who can now listen to the podcast. And the YouTube channel was also an extension of that.
I believe that you guys are just, you know, a few weeks ago now formally a company.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And so all four of you are joint owners,
Yes.
Equal owners
Yes.
of AIB.
Yes.
Okay. And you have now Snapdeal come on board, who's your sponsor?
Yes, for our videos on
For our
YouTube.
videos.
Yes.
So
For an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you explain that for our audience?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty simple. Snapdeal came to us and they said, we like what you do. We want to be partnered on it. And they were pretty cool about it. They said they don't share in the revenue that we make of videos.
YouTube.
But the best thing about that Snapdeal partnership is they were the first brand that came to us and said, you guys do what you do.
Yeah.
We don't want to get our fingerprints in there and change what. A lot of brands will be like, you have to use my product a certain way, whether it, you know, is organically fitting the video or not. Snapdeal said, y'all do what you do. Just make sure my name is in there somewhere and you have complete creative freedom.
And they give you money for it.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Every
Snapdeal-
video.
Every video.
So the first sketch that we put out with Snapdeal was one where we make fun of Arvind Kejriwal, we make fun of the Aam Aadmi Party, we make fun of Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi in the same video.
Sure.
And it's the first time that a brand said, yeah, okay, do it. And we're not afraid, just do whatever it is, we trust you guys.
And it's not like we were lobbing a softball at them. That was a baptism of fire for that brand, you know, where you're saying, here, we are taking the biggest political names and putting them out there, and they were like,
And you know what? It paid off.
Yeah.
For the kind of deal that they made with us, the video got 3.5 million views, still counting. No other brand has put their weight behind a video that's gone viral like this.
But tell me something.
right.
What is in it for Snapdeal?
I'll tell you what's in it for Snapdeal. A ton of goodwill. Aside from visibility, which is the obvious thing, like you said, 3.6 million views on one video, goodwill. Like, for example, the second that Kejriwal video came out, there were a lot of mentions on our social media saying stuff like, pretty cool to see somebody like Snapdeal supporting something like this as opposed to a mainstream TV show, for example. So there's that goodwill. You automatically, your brand identifier becomes, these guys are cool.
We also sell our merchandise on Snapdeal, and it's not just the goodwill, all right? Let me give you an example. Snapdeal's messaging of you get a good discount on the website, it's convenient. There's an interesting way of saying that in every video. I'll give you an example. One of the videos we did was after the UPA lost. We came out with a video called Thank You My Dear Congress. The video is about comedians saying thank you to the Congress for giving us joke material for 10 years, for being the biggest source of jokes. And the sketch begins with a funeral. It begins with a funeral with the Congress symbol inside the coffin. And one of the ways we integrate Snapdeal was that Rohan is the person who's doing the eulogy. He says that for 10 years the UPA looted us so much that the only way we could afford this funeral was because we bought all the stuff from Snapdeal. Everybody who saw the video went like, ha ha, that's a cool plug. What an interesting way of doing it. Most importantly, monetarily, it makes sense for them. What you would be paying way higher on a per view on a regular video, you're doing it in the video with creators that people like, who will anyways watch the video and not skip it. So it's the kind of deal that I think more brands should follow. It's a smart way of doing it.
So coming back to your story, so you guys started off with how much capital?
Our capital was literally dependent on how much money
we had
we
in
would
our bank
make.
accounts that month.
How much we would have in that month, how much money you would make based on all the shows we would do.
I'll give you an estimate of, because this is India's #1
Economic
That's good.
channel.
Well done, boys.
Like we shoot a video, the video costs nothing less than $1.5 lakh per video. Because I'll give you an example, okay? You go to a studio, it'll cost you 20-25 grand at the studio. We pay none of our actors, we make no money. We pay the guy who shoots the video and we pay the guy who directs the video. Which until now we've just started directing, but your lights would be 30 grand, your camera would be 15 grand more.
So you were actually video to video sustenance, if
Literally,
I
If your channel does as well as ours, or if your channel is doing better than ours, you'll make anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 a month. If all your videos are monetized, etc., which is not a lot of money if you think about it. I mean, if a
That too
video
between
costs-
4 of you.
Plus, with branded content coming in right now, that's another
Yeah.
source of revenue that we can use
Right.
as we see fit.
Right, right. I really want to go into the story of how you all took on YRF, because that's a really interesting story, and I want it to be retold on how exactly it happened and what your initial thought was and how it panned out.
Right. So we wanted to make a parody trailer, which is where comedians or creators, they take footage from different movies, cut it together, and they create a trailer which is full of jokes, like this summer, so and so. You do that voice, and you do jokes with it. We wanted to make one for Dhoom 3, except there are laws on YouTube. YouTube has rules where the producer, which is Yash Raj, they have an option of striking the video down. What a strike does on a channel is it takes away our, it affects our partnership with YouTube, which means certain
You
perks
get red
that-
flag.
they also have another option of monetizing the video. If someone has used a second of Dhoom's footage, they can monetize the video, which is any money the video makes, that money Yash Raj will receive. What Indian studios used to do was, Indian studios used to often take down the video, they used to ban the video, which is very annoying as a creator. Take the money, but don't let the video exist. There are people out there who want to watch this. This is videos which have 800 views of a Salman Khan video. I'm like, 800 people are outside Salman Khan's house on a Sunday at Carter Road anyway. And we went to Yash Raj beforehand, which is something that nobody does. We went to Yash Raj and we said, guys, we're making this. I hope you're okay with this. You know, we went with the rough cut of what we want to do. But unfortunately, the gentleman who received us at Yash Raj didn't take well to it.
I mean, forget didn't take well to it. I think the exact thing was he didn't take well to the first 15 seconds of the video, and that was that.
So then they politely asked us to take the video down, which is corporate speak for, hey man, like,
I hate you.
I will track you down.
so then we went back and we tried doing this back and forth. It wasn't working out, but we were still very keen on doing the video. Then we realized, hey, wait a second, let's just talk about what's happening. It makes way more sense to do it. So then we came out with a parody song called Yash Raj, You're No Fun. And the video took off like this because people love it when the little guy takes on the corporation.
Absolutely.
People love that. And the
Unless
video
the
went,
little guy's name is Arvind Kejriwal.
Yeah.
In which case,
yeah.
So,
So that's the video went viral. Yash Raj themselves responded to it by saying that, hey, look at how these guys have taken their our pants off, and it was very smart of them to do that. Everybody in Bollywood was like, all the actors love this, right?
Yeah.
Like kaisi liye dekh Yash Raj ki, that was the general feeling.
yeah, it was going around on actors'
That was
WhatsApps,
the
which
sentiment,
we
you
found
know,
out
yeah,
later.
yeah.
Which we found out later that actors are sharing it, producers are sharing it, directors called us suddenly.
I think studios here don't realize that you can actually use these kind of videos to your advantage.
Yeah.
If you have a sense of humor, your regular audience likes you way more. And this is very common in Hollywood. But I think Indian studios take themselves very seriously because they're like,
Indians.
yeah, of
yeah.
course.
How has this panned out? I mean, in the sense, are you now having producers come to you or studios come up to you and say, partner with us from a promotion and make parodies on us, because that will actually
Yes.
Guess what?
accelerate.
Yash Raj came back
Yash
to
Raj
us.
came back to
Really?
us
2 months later and
yeah.
said, hey, we have another movie coming out. Do you want to do this? And you know what we said? Nope.
Really?
I mean, we said no,
Yeah,
but
we
we
said
didn't have
no
time.
because
Yeah.
we're on the basis of that getting offers from producers say, hey, maybe we could work on something larger together at some point, maybe a movie or
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have actually signed a movie deal, haven't you?
I don't think we're allowed to
Yeah.
talk about it yet.
Yeah.
That's the.
But we're figuring it out. We're figuring it
We're
out.
figuring it out.
We've been offered a bunch of movies, etc., etc., and we may have signed a few. You never know.
A few. Taking that forward, so I mean, you've made great progress with, with Bollywood. Have you
Right.
made any progress with brands?
I think the difference, there are two things that have happened. One is that, of course, a lot of brands have now realized that we can use YouTube and we can use new media organizations like us to do something. But the difference is that a lot of brands approach us saying, okay, we have this product. Now
Yes.
you are comedians, so you figure it out. Just do something funny, do something edgy, which is a little, I think a lot of brands they haven't figured it out themselves. So I think a lot of them come to us without as much direction as we would hope for. They were just like, अच्छा funny है ना, ये कुछ कर लेंगे. हाँ, कुछ तो interesting है, कुछ कर लेंगे.
Like, I don't mean to disrespect the business, but there is a certain section of brand managers out there who are in charge of online but have no understanding of online at all. So they'll come to you and say stuff like, you know, I want this to be front and center in your video. How do you explain to somebody like that? Is if you do that, forget doesn't work. There'll be active backlash against your brand, saying, dude, stop trying to shoehorn your brand.
Also, the
into-
first thing that a lot of people say is, "Ye viral banao."
Huh.
I mean, if we knew how to make every video viral, then
That's
there
I would like to make a viral video
That is
with
a
you.
common
Yeah.
problem. You know, as young folks, young peeps who've managed to put out some really compelling content that is done so well that you're actually somewhat living off it, right? For people here, marketers and ad folks, this is a very big challenge. So if you have to give them a piece of advice, right, on how they should possibly tackle content.
One is have a little more courage. Step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Brands are still very wary. Can we say this? Can't we say this? Take a chance. Take a leap of faith occasionally. As we explained in the Snapdeal case, the returns could be prodigious.
One problem that brands, especially digital, they don't realize that people are not stupid. I feel like what brands do a lot of times is they take their audience's intelligence for granted.
They dumb down everything.
Yeah, like they think the audience will lap this up. Like if I do a video with this, which is young people doing this, young people sitting on a terrace and eating my product. And they're just trash
That's
talking.
how young people live here. That means that's
how
what
they
they
are.
are.
Like your audience is
like
not
that.
stupid. They know what this is.
Right.
They can see.
Understand your audience. If you're 50 years old and you're the brand manager, make an effort to know what young people talk like, or get some younger people to talk to younger people.
Another thing, especially if you want to survive, I think in the digital space as a brand or even as a content creator, is timeliness.
Yeah.
You no longer have the luxury of sending a decision up 10 chains of management and a
Yeah.
response coming back 10 days later.
I think brands need to hold social media agencies responsible and accountable a lot more.
Yes.
Like I said earlier, there is a lot of money coming into this social media bubble. You better get your agency to do actual work as opposed to I will trend a hashtag on Twitter for 3 days and this has reached like impression of 10 million people, but the 10 million people didn't even look at the tweet. They don't care. If you just spend it on promoting a tweet, it doesn't help. Make sure
It's one
hold
quick-
your agency accountable. Make sure they're spending it at the right places.
Thanks very much. Truly a pleasure and all the very best.
Thank you so much.